Yo, what just happened in Argentina has the whole hip-hop world in shock, and we mean earth-shattering. Timeline breaking, Drake fans hiding in the shadows type shock. Because Kendrick Lamar just pulled a move so bold, so history-defining. It's got the internet screaming that Drake could never. We're talking about a record-breaking, culture-shifting, jaw-dropping international tour kickoff that didn't just rock Buenos Aires cracked open a secret that's been bubbling behind the scenes for years. Sources close to TDE are whispering that this wasn't just a tour stop, this was a calculated, career-defining chess move. And y'all, it came with surprise diss footage, a mystery woman, and a strange disappearance from someone in Kendrick's inner circle. Oh yeah, the drama's deep. Meanwhile, fans in Argentina, crying in the streets, tattooing lyrics on their skin. One fan literally tried to climb on stage screaming, "Drake could never." But here's the twist: rumors say Drake tried to sabotage this tour behind the scenes. Yeah, you heard that right. And the tea only gets hotter from there. Stay locked in. Because what really happened in Argentina might just change hip-hop forever. Let's get into it. It all started with a simple post. No caption, no warning. It's just a grainy video of Kendrick Lamar stepping off a private jet in Buenos Aires, Argentina at sunrise. Fans didn't even have time to react before the rumors started flying. Was he there for a festival? A pop-up? A music video shoot? Nobody knew. But within hours, mysterious posters began appearing all over the city. Black and white prints of Kendrick's face, staring deadpan, with only 2 words printed underneath: the heart. That was it. No time, no venue, no ticket link, just the heart. By noon, the streets of Buenos Aires were buzzing. Hip-hop heads were sprinting through the city looking for clues. The whispers started moving fast. One post from a local sound tech claimed Kendrick had booked out the iconic Luna Park Arena. Another said it was an underground Invitonally performance. But the wildest claim? Someone close to Argentina's Ministry of Culture said this wasn't just a concert. Kendrick was about to be the first American rapper ever to headline a national cultural event in Argentina's history, and just like that, people lost their minds. Within 24 hours, flights into the city were packed. Fans came from Chile, Brazil, even New York. And then came the twist that no one expected. Leaked footage surfaced of a heated backstage conversation. It was grainy, shaky, looked like it was recorded on a cracked iPhone, but it showed Kendrick arguing with someone off camera. The words were muffled, but one sentence came through crystal clear. He tried to shut this down. He thinks he owns international now. The internet exploded. Fans immediately connected the dots. Was Kendrick talking about Drake? The very same Drake who had just wrapped his controversial tour stop in Sao Paulo, where rumors swirled that he threw shade at Kendrick during a freestyle. The timing was too perfect. Suddenly, this wasn't just a concert, it was war. Lyrical war, tour war, culture war. But here's where things really turned up. Behind the scenes, Kendrick's team was battling a crisis. The local promoters who had confirmed a Luna Park venue suddenly pulled out just 48 hours before the show. Their reason? Security concerns. Insiders say something else. One anonymous source, claiming to be a tour assistant, went on live and dropped the bombshell. A major Canadian label reached out to Argentina's event regulators with concerns about Kendrick's messaging. They said it was too political, too divisive. You do the math. That live went viral in minutes. Fans were furious. TikTok lit up with the hashtag Drake could never, and the trends started spreading like wildfire. Artists began weighing in. J. Cole liked a shady tweet. Even Tyler, the Creator, dropped a cryptic IG story of Kendrick's tour poster with the caption, "Now that's how you move." And then, it happened with less than a day's notice. Kendrick's team announced the new venue. And it wasn't just any venue. It was the Plaza de Mayo, Argentina's most historic political square. This wasn't a concert anymore. It was a statement. The country hadn't seen anything like it since Madonna filmed Don't Cry for Me Argentina on that same balcony. Except this time, it was hip-hop at the center. And Kendrick wasn't just performing, he was building a movement. The night of the show, the plaza was packed. 30,000 people crammed into the square, waving flags, holding signs. Some even wearing makeshift The Heart shirts. But just before the show began, another twist shook the crowd. A drone flew over the plaza, dropping hundreds of small black envelopes. Fans scrambled to catch them. Inside each envelope, a note that read, "This is for those who still feel. The Heart PT6, Live Only." Nobody had ever heard of that track before. As the lights dimmed and the first beat dropped, Kendrick walked on stage wearing an Argentinian flag draped across his shoulders. The crowd erupted. For the next 2 hours, he ran through a set list that touched every era section 80. Good kid, damn, Mr. Morale Butt. When he finally debuted the Heart PT6, the internet stopped. The track was raw, painful, direct. And yes, there were clear shots fired. You bought the numbers. I bought the pain. You rent the stage. I own the flame. You fly private. But I landed where the real remain. Fans screamed. Tweets went up mid-bar. Blogs tried to keep up. The entire song felt like a confessional, a retaliation, a eulogy, and rebirth all at once. He ended the verse with a mic drop so powerful the crowd stood in stunned silence. He didn't even say goodbye. He just walked off, head high, leaving the flag behind on the stage. But even that wasn't the final twist. As the crowd was dispersing, a small group of fans noticed someone sobbing near the back of the stage. It was a woman, mid-30s, dressed in all black, clearly emotional. Security tried to usher her away, but someone caught her face on video. And that's when the internet recognized Ariana Henderson, Kendrick's former creative director and longtime collaborator who had mysteriously disappeared from public life over a year ago. No one knew where she went, and Kendrick had never spoken on it. Why was she back now? Why was she crying? And what did it have to do with the line Kendrick rapped earlier that night? She left when the pressure cooked, but came back when the fire stood. Speculation ran wild. Was there a falling out? Did Drake have something to do with her disappearance? Or worse, was she the reason the tour almost got sabotaged? And just when fans thought they had seen it all, Kendrick posted a single image to his Instagram story. A photo of the crowd, black and white, grainy, no caption. But if you zoomed in, you could barely make out a phrase scrawled across the screen in faded letters. Part 2 begins when the silence ends. The photo stayed up on Kendrick's story for only 7 minutes before it vanished. No one from his team gave a statement. No follow-up. No context. Just a grainy photo and that haunting message. Part 2 begins when the silence ends. But silence was the last thing happening in the hip-hop world overnight. The internet went into a full-blown investigation frenzy. Reddit threads exploded with theories. Some fans swore that the photo was taken from Ariana Henderson's point of view, suggesting she was the one who snapped it. Others believed Kendrick had leaked the image himself as a warning shot, not just to Drake, but to the entire industry. The phrase, "the silence ends," started trending worldwide, and within hours, bootleg clips of the Heart PT6 were spreading like wildfire, even though the full track had never been officially released. But then, the comments section blew up. Fans were spamming with snake emojis, question marks, and quotes from Kendrick's new verse. Drake clearly saw the tension, because a few minutes later, he leaned into the camera and said, "We'll see how long that silence lasts when the truth comes out. You know, I got files too." The stream ended abruptly. Within minutes, Kendrick's fan base fired back online. The debate spiraled. Was Drake bluffing? Did he actually have something on Kendrick? And what kind of files was he talking about? This wasn't just music beef anymore. This was turning personal. Meanwhile, back in Buenos Aires, a whole different storm was brewing. Ariana Henderson had officially broken her silence. She posted a black screen on her Instagram with a single caption: "I kept quiet out of loyalty. But when truth becomes a casualty, silence is a betrayal." The post got over 2 million likes in 4 hours. And Then came the podcast episode. AYAN sat down with a little-known Argentinian journalist, someone no one expected, and gave a full hour-long interview where she laid everything out. And when we say everything, we mean everything. She said that 2 years ago. During Kendrick's early prep for his Mr. Morale album, there was a huge creative disagreement behind closed doors. According to her, Kendrick wanted to take a global approach, something that broke past American culture and addressed pain, politics, and resistance worldwide. But his label didn't want it. They thought it was too radical, that it wouldn't sell. And apparently, someone very high up in the industry suggested he instead collaborate with a more global-friendliest figure. She never named names, but fans connected the dots, especially when she said this. I remember sitting in a room where someone literally said, "If Kendrick won't play ball, we'll make sure someone else runs the field." And a few weeks later, who's suddenly dropping Afrobeat collaborations and doing Spanish-language remixes? Not Kendrick. The subtext was clear. Ayana believed there was an organized effort to dim Kendrick's global light and push Drake into that lane instead. And that wasn't even the wildest part. She claimed that when she stood up for Kendrick's vision, she was blacklisted. Offers dried up. Contracts disappeared. And in a move that broke her heart, even Kendrick stopped returning her calls. He told me it wasn't safe, that they were watching, that if I kept pushing, I'd be next. And then he went silent. That's when I knew the industry got to him too. Her voice cracked when she said that last part. The podcast went viral. Fans were split. Some were furious with Kendrick for going ghost. Others believed he was protecting her. But the biggest question? What changed? Why was Ayana back now, at this moment? Some speculated that the Heart PT6 was Kendrick's apology. That maybe he hadn't gone silent because he sold out, but because he was planning something much bigger and needed time to move in silence. The line from the song she left when the pressure cooked, came back when the fire stood, suddenly had a whole new meaning. And then came the next twist. A leaked email thread between international festival organizers revealed that Kendrick had tried to book a series of surprise pop-ups across South America months before the Argentina show. But almost every single request was denied. The reason given in the emails: concerns about messaging and security conflicts. One of the festivals was sponsored by a certain music platform known to have strong ties to Drake's label. Coincidence? The drama was officially worldwide. Meanwhile, the Teed camp was staying eerily quiet. No statements. No confirmations. Even Kendrick's closest collaborators, Schoolboy Q, Shaw, J-Rock, stayed off social media completely. It was like they were under some kind of code. But fans noticed something strange. Shaw quietly liked Ayana's podcast clip on Twitter, then unliked it an hour later. Nothing gets past the internet. And while all this was happening, Kendrick was already in Chile, reportedly rehearsing for a second surprise show. But this one had a twist no one could predict. According to local sources, Kendrick had invited a small group of fans on Lead 200 to an undisclosed warehouse outside Santiago. No phones, no cameras, no press. Just him, a mic, and whatever he had to say. Word had already gotten out that Kendrick was in Chile. But no one expected what happened next. A few trusted fan pages got anonymous DMs with coordinates. No name, no promo. Just a location pin and a time 11:11 p.m. Fans thought it was fake. Some thought it was a setup. But by nightfall, around 200 people stood in a long, silent line in front of what looked like an abandoned textile factory on the edge of Santiago. They had to sign NDA papers at the door. No phones allowed. No media. No questions. They weren't even told what they were going to see. Just a single sentence on the waiver. You came to feel ... and then. Kendrick walked in, no lights, no stage, no DJ, just Kendrick in a hoodie, standing in the middle of a cold, dim room with a single spotlight overhead. The air was tense. The fans formed a loose circle around him. He didn't say a word for the first few minutes. Just looked at everyone, scanned their faces, Some fans say he was crying. Others say he looked like he hadn't slept in days. Then he whispered, "Truth don't live on charts. It lives in here." And he tapped his chest. What followed was less a concert and more a confession. Kendrick began performing unreleased verses. Raw, broken, unpolished. He rapped about betrayal, about feeling hunted, about being followed in foreign cities, about watching friends turn into strangers. And then came the line that sent shivers down the room. He offered me peace, but it came with a leash. I said no. They said I had a death wish. Everyone knew who he was. Fans gasped. Someone in the back whispered, "It's talking about Drake." But the real moment of shock came about halfway through when Kendrick paused, looked around the room and said, "They thought I was scared. They thought I folded. But I've been documenting everything, every meeting, every message, every threat. You think they control the game? Nah. I'm about to show you who really run in the field." That was the moment it became clear Kendrick had receipts. And apparently, he wasn't bluffing. The next morning, an email newsletter was sent to the same 200 fans who attended the warehouse show. Attached was a link. Password protected. Only those who had been there knew the code. But of course, nothing stays secret for long. Within hours, the link leaked. And what it contained was absolutely wild. Kendrick had compiled a private documentary just 18 minutes long, showing behind-the-scenes clips, conversations, voice notes, and hidden footage from the last 3 years. Meetings where execs pushed him to change lyrics. Voicemails from industry insiders pressuring his team to tone down the messaging. Even clips of a blurred-out figure rumored to be someone from Drake's inner circle warning him that international dominance doesn't have room for two black kings. Those were the exact words. No room for two black kings. And that's when the internet completely melted. Blogs were scrambling to get statements. Think pieces were being written in real time. Hip-hop Twitter went full detective mode. Fans started asking deeper questions. Was this just rap beef? Or was this about control? About who gets to represent hip-hop globally? And why was Kendrick being pushed out of certain markets while others were fast-tracked? One tweet summed it up best. Drake went viral. Kendrick went global. And they hated that. As the pressure mounted, someone finally cracked. A well-known festival booker, who asked to remain anonymous, gave an interview to a European blog and confirmed it. They said they were directly told not to book Kendrick for their 2024 festival run. The reason? Optics conflict with current strategic partnerships. When asked what that meant, they refused to elaborate, but fans were putting the pieces together. These strategic partnerships all led back to the same group of international music stakeholders with deep ties to both streaming platforms and luxury brands. And guess who had just launched a major fashion collab with one of those brands? Drake. The timeline was getting messier by the minute. Meanwhile, back in Santiago, Kendrick had gone completely off-grid again. No updates, no sightings. But Ayanna Henderson posted another cryptic message. This time it was a photo of a passport, a boarding pass to Johannesburg, and a note that said, Phase 3, no borders. That's when it became clear this wasn't stopping at South America. Kendrick was moving across continents, and nobody knew what he was planning next. But while the internet focused on the drama, there was one more emotional storm brewing beneath the surface. Family.Ayana wasn't the only one affected by Kendrick's mission. A lesser-known detail began to emerge. Kendrick's cousin, who goes by Jameer and used to help produce visuals for Kendrick's older projects, posted a long message on his Finsta account. The caption read, "I love." It reminded fans that behind the brilliance, behind the bars and the beef, there were real people breaking. The industry was more than rap, it was surveillance, manipulation, and isolation. Fans started a new hashtag. #ProtectKendrick. And in the midst of all this, there was one more twist nobody saw coming. Someone leaked a snippet of an unreleased Drake track. The audio quality was rough, clearly recorded from a phone in a studio, but the lyrics were unmistakably directed at Kendrick. One line stood out: "You flew to spread truth, but forgot who paved the sky per. Acting like you built the plane when I showed you how to fly?" The tone was arrogant, dismissive, and it hit social media. Like a lightning bolt, Drake was firing back. But instead of excitement, fans were uneasy, because this no longer felt like the typical back and forth. This felt heavy, like something deeper was unraveling. Some said Drake was trying to rewrite history. Others said he was finally showing his true colors. But a growing number of voices were asking a new question. What if this wasn't about winning anymore? What if it was about who survives the story? The leak of Drake's snippet sent shockwaves through social media. The fans who once worshipped both artists found themselves torn, caught in the middle of what was quickly becoming the most intense rivalry of the decade. The usual rap fanfare was replaced by something darker: questions about loyalty, legacy, and who really controlled the narrative in hip-hop. But then something unexpected happened, out of nowhere. Kendrick's team dropped a new single, Silent Kings, on streaming platforms worldwide. The song was raw, unapologetic, and dripping with emotion. It wasn't a diss track, at least not in the traditional sense. It was a manifesto, a call for unity, but also a clear warning. In the opening verse, Kendrick rapped, "We kings in silence, but never unseen. They want to cage the lion, but we break every scene. This game ain't about trophies. It's about who's real, and real don't bow. Real don't kneel." Fans immediately read this as a response to Drake's jab. But the lyrics went deeper, touching on betrayal, industry, politics, and personal sacrifice. The music video featured powerful imagery: broken chains, shadowed figures watching from skyscraper windows, and Kendrick walking through empty streets, symbolizing isolation amidst fame. Then came the interviews. Kendrick gave a rare sit-down to an international podcast where he opened up more than ever before. He talked about the pressure of being the voice of a generation, about the industry's attempts to control his art, and about the toll it took on his relationships. When asked about Drake, he smiled sadly and said, "We all fight different battles. Some with words, some with silence." The interview went viral overnight, and the fans, they were eating it up. Emotions ran high. Supporters flooded social media with messages of love and loyalty. The family was left divided too. Ayanna and Jameer posted separate videos calling for healing, emphasizing that the war was hurting everyone close to Kendrick. But amid all this, the real story was just beginning. Several insiders began revealing more about the mysterious woman who appeared in Argentina that night, Tiana Henderson. It turned out she wasn't just Kendrick's former creative director. Sources claimed she was also a key figure in negotiating with Latin American cultural leaders to bring hip-hop to new audiences in a way no one else had done before. According to one insider, Ayanna was the glue that held Kendrick's global vision together. Without her, Kendrick's movement risked falling apart. But here's where it gets juicy. Drake's single quotes as Camp allegedly approached Ayanna multiple times during her absence, trying to recruit her for a secret project aimed at bridging cultural gaps in Latin America. When she refused, she became persona non grata in major industry circles, which fueled the fallout with Kendrick. And the drama didn't stop there. A leaked voicemail, shared anonymously by a source claiming to be from Drake's inner circle, revealed a heated conversation between Drake and an unknown executive. In it, Drake angrily said, "If Kendrick wants to play global king, he'd better be ready to deal with the crown's weight. We don't share thrones." Fans dissected every word, comparing it to Kendrick's verses and the overall tension. But as the feud reached new heights, a surprising development brought a moment of calm. In a surprise collaboration, Kendrick and Drake were spotted in a private studio session in London. Paparazzi photos showed them laughing, exchanging smiles, even recording together. Speculation exploded. Was this the beginning of a truce? But sources close to both camps revealed it was anything but. The studio meeting was intense, Far from a peace talk, it was a negotiation. Both sides were trying to carve out their territories without igniting a full-scale war that could ruin their brands. The meeting ended with a mutual agreement: no public attacks for now. But the competition would continue behind closed doors. And so the war entered a new, silent phase. Fans were left hungry for answers. Who would come out on top? Would Kendrick's bold moves in Argentina and beyond pay off? Or would Drake's global machine steamroll through it all? The truth: no one knows yet, but what is clear is this: Kendrick's Argentina tour was more than just music. It was a historic move that shook the foundations of the hip-hop industry. A move Drake never could make, not with words, not with money, and definitely not with heart. And now, the world waits for what happens next. Will Kendrick continue to build his global empire? Will Drake strike back with something even bigger? Will Ayana return to the spotlight as the secret weapon behind the scenes? And what about the fans caught in the middle of one of the most dramatic chapters in rap history? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure: this story is far from over. So, there you have it. Kendrick's Argentina tour wasn't just another stop on a global journey, was a historic power move that sent shockwaves through the industry and sparked a rivalry draped in betrayal, secrets, and ambition. While Drake may have the streams and the headlines, Kendrick's bold steps are rewriting the rules of the game. But the real question remains: what's next? Will this drama explode into a full-blown showdown? Or will there be an unexpected truce hiding behind the scenes? And who really holds the keys to global hip-hop dominance? We want to hear from you. What do you think about Kendrick's move? Is he the undisputed king? Or is Drake playing a smarter game behind the curtain? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed the breakdown. And subscribe so you don't miss any of the latest updates on this epic saga. Hit the notification bell and join the conversation, because this story is just getting started. And you definitely want to be front row. Stay tuned. And we'll keep bringing you all the real, raw, and unfiltered tea right here.